What's up everybody, Ben here with the Spirit of Running, and today we're talking about the Hoka Cielo X1. This is a unisex racing shoe that comes in at 9.3 ounces, has a 7mm drop, and retails for $275. Moving from the shoe from bottom to top, we're going to start with the outsole. As you can see, there's a whole lot of rubber on the bottom of this shoe. I think that this provides really good grip and traction, and really is going to add to the durability of the shoe, so that when you combine that with the durability of the Piba midsole, I think you're going to get a lot of miles out of the Cielo X1. I think that the rubber does add to the weight of the shoe a little bit. As a racer, it is a little on the heavier side, but I think that, and we'll talk about this a little bit later too, the weight on this shoe is a little bit misleading. I don't think it's the most important factor in this shoe, even as a racing shoe. As we move into the midsole, we've got 2 layers of Piba, separated by a full-length carbon plate. It is a winged plate. So we've got really nice bounce, really nice pop coming off the shoe. As you can see, the shoe has a fairly aggressive design. Sorry if you can hear Spirit sniffing over to the side, but it does have a very aggressive design. One of the areas that they have chosen to save weight is we've got some pretty aggressive cutouts here in the midsole in specific locations. The cutouts don't take away from the shoe in any way for me. The ride and the run feels great. I feel that it's a very responsive shoe when you're picking up the pace. So I think that they've really done a good job with the placement of the plate, both within the midsole, the shape of the plate, and just the overall design of the midsole itself. You can see, looking down at the shoe, that we do have a really nice flare here at the back and a pretty decent flare here at the front. So this shoe does add a bit more of a stability element than we might be used to seeing in some of the other carbon plated racers. Moving into the upper, I love the upper. It's really light, it's really airy. When we look at the heel collar, not a whole lot going on there, not a lot of material there. It is a fully gusseted tongue. My only issue with the upper is that the tongue doesn't quite seem to fit inside the shoe. And I say, what I mean is that there's just some extra material that kind of bunches up here at the top. When you're running, it doesn't interfere with the run. It doesn't interfere with the function of the shoe. But for me, it was just kind of that, like, every time I lace it up, like I like it to lay flat, and I could never get it to lay flat. But again, I never had any hot spots, never had any rubbing over the top of the foot. So it's not really an issue, but it is a little, it does make you question, did I get the right size? Did I, do this or that? When it comes to sizing, for men, I think the shoe does run true to size. It does have a little more volume than some of the typical racers do, so I find that my size 10 fits quite nicely. Ladies, I think if looking at this, the unisex sizing, if you normally wore like, let's say like an 8 or a 9, I would consider going down a full size to size and a half on this shoe, and ordering like the 7 or the 6.5 if you're a size 8. Just because that this shoe does have a little more volume than some of the other racers. I think that the safer bet might be to go to that size and a half difference, but when you're initially purchasing, if you don't have the opportunity to try the shoe on in a local store. Because this is a racing shoe and because the price is so high, I'm only going to review this shoe for walking and running. I think that it would be really comfortable as a daily shoe. I don't think that it really has a place in the gym. So for the walkers and runners, this is designed to be a racing shoe. It is a little bit on the heavier side, but I think that one of the things that is really interesting to me as we look at the advancements of shoe tech is that I'm not sure weight is necessarily going to be the golden standard for shoes when it comes to picking a race shoe, especially for an average runner. I think that a lot of times the average runner we get caught up in like, you know, what's the lightest shoe, what's the, you know, the best shoe on the market, and I think that we might miss out on some really great racing opportunities for us because we're looking at shoes from an old school metric. Shoe technology has changed so much. We've got new foams, new plates, new technologies emerging all the time, and new designs coming out. And I think that this shoe is a really good test case for that. You know, as a shoe that's closing in on 10 ounces in the sample size, I think that a lot of people might discount this and think of it more as like a super trainer. I think that this shoe definitely has some commonality with a super trainer. It could be used on a daily basis. That being said, I would save it. I think that you're going to get a lot of really good races out of this shoe if you go with it and you want to save those miles. I think you're going to get more miles in this shoe because of the design. I think having that extra bit of midsole material, the extra outsole material is going to help with that, with the longevity of the shoe. For me, this is much more of an everyman shoe than some of the other, what we consider top-end racing shoes on the market right now. I think that when I'm using this shoe, it runs so smoothly at higher speeds, and at the same time, when I'm doing my workouts, I don't feel the need to warm up with one shoe, change into this shoe, and then do my workout and then cool down in another shoe. This shoe runs so smoothly at so many different paces that I think that it really is one of the best racing shoes on the market right now. The plate in the shoe really has a lot of good pop coming off the front, you know, and I think that in the marathon, I really think that both that rocker, that really aggressive rocker combined with the plate, in later miles is going to provide a really good sense of you know, maintaining turnover and maintaining cadence as you get tired towards the end of your race. I think if you have a race where you know, we've got a lot of climbing and a lot of descent, because of the design of plates and shoes, some of the uphill you know, has gotten easier, but the downhill is still really can really tear up your quads. And I think that with this shoe, with this really aggressive rocker, as we come downhill, I mean, the shoe is just designed to move through that. In summary, I think the Hoka Cielo X1 might be one of my favorite racing shoes of the season. There's a lot of shoes out there that are phenomenal, so you know, definitely put this one in, you know, into the consideration as you're looking at your fall and spring race calendars, especially if you've got a race with hills. I think that, you know, there's you know, there's a lot of benefit to having that aggressive rocker profile in there. If you have any questions, drop those in the comment section. Be sure to hit the subscribe button so that you don't miss out on future content. For the latest written reviews, go to spiritofrunning.com. Stay safe, keep moving forward. We'll see you out there.